Hey Nancy Drew fans, we're back for book 45, The Spider Sapphire Mystery. This book begins with Nancy pulling into a parking space when she's quickly surrounded by 3 other cars. She immediately connects the incident to a new case that her father's working on about an ancient sapphire gem that has a spider embedded in it. Starting with this first act of sabotage, it's clear that these bad guys are more organized than most. Soon it's also clear that they're more violent. They kidnap Ned, they shoot out the tires of Nancy's convertible with revolvers, they kidnap George, try to suffocate Nancy, burn all the girls' clothing, and put acid on the handles of Nancy's suitcases. Almost all of this happens before Nancy's officially even taken the case. The majority of this mystery takes place while Nancy, Bess, and George accompany a group of Emerson College students, including Ned, Bert, and Dave, on an African safari. The safari activities make for a really nice backdrop. The group tours a Muslim mosque, visits Nairobi National Park, stays in a treetop inn, and goes sightseeing in Mombasa. In one of my favorite scenes, Nancy wins over a tribe of Nairobi villagers by singing a lullaby in Swahili. This celebration also includes one of many making fun of Bess moments in this book. It consisted of wildebeest stew and mealies, a sort of coarse cornmeal mush. Bess looked askance as her bowl was heaped with the steaming stew and the mealies put on top of it. Nancy and George were amused by the expression on her face. For once, Bess was not saying, "This looks delicious." My favorite making fun of Bess moment is actually one where George holds her tongue after they've just rescued a starving Ned. Bess opened her large handbag and brought out a box of crackers and a candy bar. She gave them to Ned, saying, "I always carry a little snack for an emergency. I guess this is an emergency." She looked sideways at George as if expecting to be either teased or chided about her penchant for snacks, but her cousin said nothing. The Emerson College students, and in particular how they all react to one fraternity brother's date, are the most interesting part of the story. When Gwen Taylor's first introduced, the girls are downright catty, making fun of her fake blonde wig and her artificial look. Shortly after that, she's almost set up as the anti-Nancy. She totally freaks out when there's turbulence on the plane, standing up and screaming that her father's going to sue the airline, and then she charges the cockpit and the plane takes a huge dive. This all brings out a new side of Nancy. She's not outwardly mean, but we've never seen her dislike a character before who didn't turn out to be a bad guy. Perhaps most upsetting, later on Gwen's wig is stolen by a baboon and Bess does a quick makeover, after which Gwen is quickly accepted into the group. For outfits, there's a description of the styles of dress in Nairobi. The men wore white turbans and a fringe of beard, but English business suits. The women's saris were made of several layers of veil-thin pastel materials. Scarves covered their hair. Some of the women had a jewel embedded in their foreheads. In contrast, the Arab women were somberly swathed in black. Some had the lower part of their faces covered. Despite the exotic locations and the dangerous criminals, the actual mystery falls a little flat, and I would put this solidly in the middle of the books in the series. Next up, The Invisible Intruder.